What is going on, Sky Squad? We are in the building. What's going on, my good people of Zamunda? We are back, baby. So, y'all know I was on vacation this past week and weekend. So, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have to vacation. You know what I'm saying? I gotta really be in my vacation. I'm on my vacation. So, I was like, okay, this 11 Marriage Huntsville review is gonna have to come midweek. So I just finished watching the episode, right? I had seen a little bit of it on Saturday night, but I fell asleep. So anyway, we getting into it today. All right. So it's we doing a little late night creep. It ain't really that late, you know what I'm saying, unless you in like the UK or something. But it's about what 7:44 on the East Coast time. So I'm just glad that y'all chose to hop on into the chat real quick so we can have a little ponderosa about this little jamboree that went down on the Love and Marriage Huntsville. Now, for me, let's get down to it. Okay. Thank you for everybody who is in the building yet again. I appreciate you. 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 Okay. I appreciate you. It's late for me too, see Logan, but I said let me make it do what it do. Cause the news has been popping lately, and I was like, ain't no telling what's gonna happen tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, we might as well get into it today. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and rate this episode on the scale of 1 to 10. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna give this episode a 10. Man, Carlos was in this. Carlos was in the thing, baby. That's all I can say. Carlos was in it. Okay. This ain't no disrespect to Mr. Andy Cohen or whatever like that. But I kind of feel like sometimes Andy be doing reviews and he be like, barely there, slightly amused. He kind of lets people skirt around certain questions. You know what I'm saying? And it be real light. You know what I mean? But I feel like Carlos was like, no, boo, I was there when you said this. And so I'm going to let you know that I don't appreciate. I feel like everybody here, y'all ain't keeping the same energy. The people say you ghetto and ratchet. You got a man, but you sitting beside a pillow today. The producers are saying you difficult. Okay. No, Mr. Martell, you was not gonna come for me. You called me about everything else, but you ain't called me about this. Okay. I was like, I said, oh yes. Now I'm here for this type of carrying on. Okay. I'm here for this type of carrying on. And you know what? What I like about it is he was able to really hold their feet to the fire. And that's something that we have been kind of wanting Andy to do for quite some time now. And I get it. They two different people, two different styles of hosting. I totally get it, because there are many different styles of interviewing, right? When I'm interviewing people, my job as an interviewer is to ask questions I'm curious about. I ain't necessarily trying to hold people accountable because they grown, right? But I'm going to ask the questions that I want to know, right? But I do feel like as a reunion host, it is Carlos's job to dive deep. And I feel like he did that. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. Boom, Carlos with the show and the tell. We talked about that last week, right? So I really appreciated that. And honestly, that's what really made the reunion so good to me because I was like, yo, like somebody's really getting in there with them and not letting anybody get away with anything. Okay. Not a thing. Not nay bit a thing. Okay. And I also felt like everybody on the stage was an active participant. You know what I'm saying? Um, whether you agreed with the person or not, I felt like everybody was in this reunion. Like we got a little something from everybody. You know what I mean? So I thought that was actually very good too. Um, let's start with the start, okay? We pick up on whether or not Letitia ever speculated to Kiki that Marceau was cheating. Kiki says that yes, she has, okay? And so Letitia spills her own tea. Why she spilled this tea, I don't know. Because later you will hear Letitia say that Kiki brought up this photo at the finale. But I don't recall this ever coming up. Um, and unless I don't know, unless I missed it, I don't recall ever hearing about this photograph of this woman's naked booty on Marceau's phone. I don't ever recall hearing it. Okay. But Letitia, for whatever reason, decides that now is the time to drop this little nugget, for which I'm gonna tell you the truth. I would not have said that if I was her. If nobody knew it, I wouldn't have said it, because honestly, it didn't make her look good, right? But this is a reality TV show, so I respect that she told her reality, okay? Even though she claimed it happened 14 years ago. Now, when I think about it, 14 years ago, how long ago was that? Can somebody tell me what year 14 years ago was? Because I don't even know, was we able to view Instagram DMs to be able to like things and stuff like that back in the day? I mean, it couldn't have been 14 years ago, could it? I don't recall being in the Instagram DMs 14 years ago, but maybe maybe time just flew by and I don't know what happened, because it don't seem like it could have been that long ago. Okay. So for me, I was kind of like, what? Girl, are you kidding me? This didn't happen 14 years ago. I'm sorry, boo. You know I love you, but that didn't happen 14 years ago. Okay. You're gonna have to reanalyze that timeline for me to believe it. All right. Now, again, she chose to tell the story, so we got to go ahead and now dive on into it further. Okay. Now, in general, many a men on reality TV shows, it seems like, have been privy to this same instance happening. One need look only down to the Atlanta at Dr. Scott. He too got tripped up in the DMs with, people just throwing their body parts at the men's folks, on social media in the DMs and whatnot, and whoopty whoop. You know what I'm saying? Apparently, can I ask y'all a question? Do I mean, I just want to know. I mean, okay, for me, can I be real with y'all? I'm gonna be for real, 100% for real. Okay. She said it must have been MySpace. I'm gonna have to say this, right? When I analyze this story, because I gotta take a second to do so. Letitia says she researched it. Well, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me not do that. Okay. Well, Letitia did say she researched it first, but I'm gonna get into this research in a minute. Apparently, the story goes like this: Marceau interviewed some girl, but what was it for? Well, it wasn't for the black. If it was 14 years ago, what was it for? Okay, because I need to know, because it won't a hostess position, because black won't in existence then. Okay, and out of the blue, she sent a photo, and so apparently Letitia went through the phone and found that he had liked the photo and replied. And then so Kiki lets us know he replied. Marceau said he did not reply, but Kiki says his reply verbatim. Kiki said that Marceau replied to the girl after he liked her photo and said, "A midday's work surprise." Okay. Now, just for ish and giggles, okay. In case you missed it, I'm gonna type it down in a banner down below. Okay. Now, it was a midday's work surprise, Kiki said. Oh, and suddenly he remembers. Okay, great. So Carlos is like, well, why does she feel comfortable, sending you that? And Martell is like, well, did she get the job? Okay. And I'm like, well, what job was it? Okay. Anyway, apparently he gets those photos all the time, and Carlos says, this is confusing to me. I am confusion. Letitia, you find this photo. Letitia, you hear all of these stories about 20 women's, okay? There's a photo allegedly of a back floating around, and none of these things makes you question anything. Letitia's like, no, okay? No, no, no. I I researched it. I researched it and I did my homework. Okay, so you researched it in 2014, or did you go back to 24? I mean, to back to 14 years ago, okay? Because y'all say 2008. So you went back to 2008, or you had researched it in 2008, okay? And you what did you research? What did you do? Did you go through all of his threads? Did you go through just that one thread? Because the messages could have been deleted. Or did you call her, okay, and ask her, why did you send me this photo? Did you go through the text messages? Did you check all his other social media? What was your research? Okay, because that's what I want to know. That's number one, because you said she did her homework. Okay, she lets us know she did homework. Okay, homework. So I need to know what you did. Now, when we take things a little further than that, okay, because now that you done brought this thing up, which you didn't have to, I'm all up in it, okay. Apparently there was no more responses outside of that, okay, but she did a research. All is well in the world, and she don't believe nothing, and at the end of the day, she gonna stick beside him, okay. Can I be real with you for a second? I'm gonna be absolutely 100% for real, okay. At the end of the day, this man receiving a DM of a woman's derriere. Okay, let me put it in proper terms. Her derriere. To me, that ain't no big thing. Okay, it's really not. Honestly, I don't think so. I think it would have been a bigger deal. Okay, if he had sent a photo of his junk in the trunk to her. Okay, that to me is like, okay, now you're crossing boundaries here, okay? And probably, maybe, okay, I think the lesson for him is don't respond to these things in the future and keep it moving. So my thought is, Letitia, why did you bring up this story, okay? Because really it was much ado about nothing, but it did not serve a purpose but to make you look a little naive, okay? And you got to realize that in the context, in the general scheme of things, him receiving this derriere shot is not that big of a deal, because for whatever reason, the people seem to love to just send a derriere shot or like a junk in the trunk shot just randomly. But at the end of the day, this story, you bringing it up to me is a bigger issue, because it does not make you look good in light of everything that has been presented about this man on the show, whether or not there's any truth to it or not. Okay. I just had to get that out of my system and purge it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because it didn't make sense to me. Like, why bring this up? But I appreciate it, because it gives me something to talk about. You know what I'm saying? And I like when you tell it all. Okay, tell it all. Okay, but tell me what you did for that research. I need to know. I like what you did. How did you go? How far did you go back? What year was it? You know what I'm saying? Give me all of that. Actually, I'm asking the wrong person, because Kiki knows things verbatim, and I probably could ask her, and she could probably tell me everything. But because she could tell me verbatim what that man said, a midday's work surprise. Okay. All right, now that we've gotten through that, all right, Miss Wanda considers this cheating. No surprise there. Okay. There's some discussion about, whether or not Kiki told her whatever she said when she filmed with Melody. Miss Wanda calls Kiki a liar. They go back and forth, and wada wooty woo. Kimmy then spills the tea that there was more that Kiki said the night of that pajama jamboree. And Kiki, oh Lord, Kiki. Now I like this type of character that dares the production to show the footage. Okay, knowing good and well you wrong. Okay, I love it because it's very chaotic, and it is the thing that reality TV shows are made of. You know what I'm saying? A character swears up and down they didn't do something, and then they say roll the footage. Girl, the footage show you talking about your cousin. Okay, out the blue, just bringing her up to a bunch of people that half of them may not even know who she is. And so you're sitting there talking about it. Kimmy is asking you, well, why are you bringing this stuff to us? Kiki, I'm gonna need you to you got a good memory about Marceau. You got a bad memory about yourself. Okay. But I do delight in those types of characters because they do provide us with a great source of entertainment and chaoticness on our reality TV shows. So, Kiki, thank you for your sometimes working memory. I appreciate it. And so, moving right along, Marceau goes back to the original moment about him bringing up the addiction to Melody and Martell. Okay, now for Martell, I mean for Marceau, he is adamant that he brought this up in a moment of solemnness. Okay, he was distraught when he spilled Kiki's tea. He was just on the verge. He was upset that he had to release the Kraken and tell this woman's intimate business about an addiction that nobody else really needed to know about, okay? Why? Because he must have been afraid that she was going to go into the bathroom and rummage through their cabinets. Now, I don't know about y'all, and I want you to be real honest in the chatterization. I want you to tell me how many of y'all don't have addictions, but have still gone into somebody's house and rummaged through their cabinets. Okay, just raise you ain't got be real over here. Be real on this channel tonight. Okay, it's in the midnight hour. It's a midday's work surprise. Now raise your hand if you'd ever went into the bathroom in somebody else's home and went through their cabinets. Raise your hand. If you're not, tap your neighbor if you're not afraid. Okay, raise your hand. I done it before. I don't have no addictions, but I have done it. Okay, and I know it's not right, and I don't do it anymore, and I don't even advise it, but I have once upon a time. Okay, I mean it is what it is. You've been out on a date with somebody. You don't know what's going on with them. You think you're about to get it on. What you gonna do? You go into that bathroom. You check them cabinets. See what's up in there. Okay, I mean, it is what it is. It ain't right. No, it ain't right. I admit it. Okay, but sometimes you got to do a little, like Letitia says, you got to do a little homework. You got to do a little research, a little investigation. Okay, period. Now, back to what he said about Kiki. You know, the thing with Kiki is Melody claims that Marceau said it in jest. You never know with Marceau because Marceau, sometimes you can't really take him seriously. You know what I'm saying? But on the flip side, Kiki don't believe that he said it with any malintent, okay? And also she is feeling like, Letitia also did not have any malintent either, okay? But my thought is this: malintent or not, okay? Whether everybody was laughing and kikiing and joking about it or not, why did he feel the need to tell the host what was going on? Like he had an obligation to tell her, okay? Because in my opinion, the fact that she got some type of addiction, don't nobody need to know that. You know what I'm saying? What was she? I mean, at that point, what was she gonna do? Granted, I just said, I know I'm contradictory today. Okay. And my eye is something that's in my eye. Lord. So anyway, it ain't like she was gonna sit up in there and go through that. Can you imagine? It was like they had to tell the host, hide your prescription medicine, hide your Tylenol, hide your Motrins, hide your Excedrins, hide your BC, hide your goody powders, hide all your medicines because they should not, if they are in the guest bedroom, hide them because Kiki coming, okay? And she might take them, okay? Okay, that's what y'all need to do. Because she got an addiction, y'all. Did you know? I mean, what was the reason? What was the reason? There was no reason. I cannot, especially for Letitia, I cannot fathom if you are the person that took her to her first treatment facility. why in the world you would even think it was okay to release this bit of information about your cousin that you just took to the facility. At least have a little faith in the woman that she might be able to control herself long enough to get through a visit to a friend's house without rummaging through their cabinets, stealing their excedrins, and running out of the house. All right? That's how I feel about it. Okay. Meanwhile, Carlos humbly humbly thanks her for sharing her story with addiction, and it is time to move on. Okay. Next up, Wanda versus Melody. Oh. So why did Melody want to approach Miss Wanda on the camera? Okay. Melody says she really wanted to go confront the man on live that had threatened her on live, that said he had something. I don't know what the word was because I'm not up on the slang terms. Okay, forget your gotchas. I'm really not. I'm not up on that. But what I believe is, I believe that Melody, this is just my belief, and I'll ask if I get a chance to. I believe that Melody wanted to confront Wanda and that man on live because Wanda also said these things on live as well. That's personally what I feel, but I could be wrong. She ain't say that. That's what I'm thinking. But I could be wrong. So anyway, they have a discrepancy with who said what to whom. All right. Um, really, the gist of this conversation is what Miss Wanda said about the baby, okay? And really, Miss Wanda even mentioning find your baby daddy, okay, was really the space where this whole thing went left, okay? And here's the thing. It does feel to me like Letitia and Marceau make excuses for Miss Wanda with regards to this issue about the kids. And the reason I say that is because, as Martell points out in an earlier issue with bringing up kids, Miss Wanda allegedly, I'm assuming because I did not hear it, but I know it's been um, talked about one of their kids' hair. Okay. So my general thought is that for Miss Wanda, at least up until this point, the kids were not really off limits. Okay. Do I think that she has learned a lesson at this point? Yes. But do I think that she knew it when she said it? No. Okay. That's just what I think personally, because there has not been just one instance of this. This is the second instance of this. That is why I feel the way that I feel. I am willing to concede that I could be wrong, but I am going based on the actions and what we have heard and seen on the show, okay? Because the first time that it was stated about one of the kids and their hair is the moment that Letitia and or Marceau should have nipped this in the bud so that it was never, ever again an issue. Okay? Period. I mean, you know, do I understand Letitia's logic because that is her mother? I do. I do. Anytime you're dealing with somebody's mama, you can't tell me my mama wrong. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's difficult to hear. So do I get it? I do. I do. All right? I get it. But at the end of the day, right? Carlos makes a great point. Everybody had energy for Tiffany when she was talking about Monster and whatever we shall not repeat. Okay. Um, they did have energy for that, but it didn't really seem like anybody had much energy for this. The other thing that I'm gonna say is this: Martell, you should never open the door, okay? Whether or not it was a door opener indeed, it was something that you said on Dr. Heavenly's live that was very egregious that you also need to take accountability for, because you also put this into the atmosphere for it to become a thing for people to talk about. Now, granted, that's your child, and you might feel like you can say it, but at the end of the day, when you open that door, you gotta know that somebody else might come on through that door with you. Okay. So also let that be a lesson to you. Okay. And so I felt like Carlos did a great job of calling them all to the carpet on their response to this. But I also feel like Martell was kind of wrong for trying to come at Carlos for not having the same energy with regards to his for their daughter, because he also goes back to the hair thing. Because Carlos is like, he basically just said to Marceau, like, I didn't know, I didn't, it to me, I didn't think that that Martell filming that apology scene, I didn't think that through. And he regretted it. And so for Martell, he's like, well, you didn't have that same energy when she was talking about my daughter's hair. But it's like, I agree with what Carlos said. It was like, yo, like, you called me for any and everything else. You did not call me about that issue. I am not a parent, and so I didn't realize that it was a big enough thing for me to have to now call everybody to the carpet for. Because here's the thing. If you got a problem and you don't say anything to me about it, it's your problem. And until you say something to me about it, you don't even give me the opportunity to handle the problem accordingly. Period. T, thank you for the super chat. Says middays work surprises is the new slogan besides Ponderosa. You know what? We're gonna keep it going all year long. It's midday work surprise. Okay. Patricia Allen says, I just don't like that Carlos hasn't called Melody out. She's done her share of shade and dirt for the cheating someone ordered off the menu and ate. Elaborate on the cheating someone ordered off the food and ate part. We're gonna get to Mel in a second. We're gonna get to that in a second. I see some people mentioning that. All right. Now, let me get back to my notes. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, so Letitia wants to know how Melody ever felt like there was going to be a calm conversation if she was confronting Miss Wanda on live. That's a fair question. That is a very fair question. And Melody doesn't really get around to answering that. But again, I feel like what I said earlier is true. I do feel like Melody probably felt like you disrespected my kid on live. Now I'm going to confront you on live. I don't know why she didn't say that, but maybe that's not how she felt. I'm putting words into her mouth, so I don't really know. But in my mind, that was the reason. But I could be wrong. The question comes up about, it's not a question. Miss Wanda apologizes, but she says that Mel came at her wrong. And Melody isn't here for it because she feels like Miss Wanda feels like she did not do anything wrong. Carlos says, do you, Melody, see a world where you're able to move forward with everybody? And Melody says, never. Marceau asks if Melody has ever held herself accountable for anything ever. I do think that I did see a video that was put out, or I saw a link to a video that was put out by, I think, a YouTuber named Brown Skin Girl. If I can find it later, I'll put it in the description. Instances where Melody has held herself accountable and apologized for different things. I think what Marsau and Letitia wanted in this moment was for Melody to apologize to Miss Wanda for the "Yo Daddy was in my DMs" comment. Okay. Was he in her DMs? I don't know. Okay. I don't know. But I think also too that the Scotts were hoping that Carlos would somehow turn the tables to Melody and also call her to the carpet as well. That is what I think was happening in that moment, because Carlos did hold the group accountable, and he actually wouldn't have even called Martell to the carpet had Martell not snapped on him and Carlos had to snap back. Okay. But the question is Miss Wanda genuine in her apology? You guys let me know in the chatterization down below. If we can ever get a chance to talk to Miss Wanda, I would love to talk to her, because I like me some Miss Wanda now. I do. I know some of y'all don't feel it like that, but I like her. Anyway, they get into a conversation about who is using who for a storyline. Can I tell you what I don't like on a reality TV show? I don't like this discussion of who is using who for a storyline. I hate the word storyline. I do. I hate it with a passion. Stop it. Stop using it. Everyone, stop it. And I talk about this. I've talked about this in other videos. To me, when you're on a reality TV show, everyone has a personal story. Some seasons, some people's personal stories might not be the highlight of the season, but they add to the mix because they might be an add-on to somebody else's story, right? Or somebody may have the driving story for the season. It's a part of what they're experiencing in their everyday life. To me, a storyline is a contrived, this is what we're going to talk about this season for me. I'm going to showcase this and this and this. That is not your story, okay? Your story is what's real and what's true and going on in your life at that time. I don't like it when people on reality TV shows talk about storylines. Please stop it all around, okay? All right? And I got to get that out of my head, all right? At the end of the day, Maurice just really wants everybody to get along. And he felt like, with the whole situation with Kimmy, like, why are we still arguing about the same petty stuff? I mean, that's a good question. But it is the reunion, and this is where we rehash the petty. So anyway, the stage is then reset for Destiny and Stormy to join the stage, and we dive right into the Galentines. The bottom line with this situation is not Melody, but Stormy and Destiny love each other at this point. It's a love fest, y'all. And they are over their issues. So Carlos then says to Stormy, the fans want to know why you are on this show. They say you are ghetto, you are ratchet, that this is not love and hip hop, okay? And I was like, oh, Carlos, you ain't holding nothing back, okay? And so it's interesting because it does allow her the opportunity to express, and she gives a very impassioned response about, reality TV shows can capture a moment for a person. And sometimes people, especially with new characters on Love and Marriage Huntsville specifically, and a lot of our favorite shows, we don't always receive new characters well when they come in and it feels like they might be doing the most, right? But in that scene, I do feel like the energy was just combative anyway. So Destiny and Stormy going at it was really par for the course of the night to me. And I personally like Stormy, and I feel like she has a great story to tell. I do not want her to change though. So, Stormy, if there is still that bit of ratchet in you, if there is still that bit of like, ghetto in you, don't lose that because some people on the internet have some negative opinions about it because we got opinions about everybody, okay? And they might change tomorrow because that's just how we are, all right? But do not change. This is a part of what makes you interesting, and you have a fabulous life that I hope that we can see more of. All right. Next, Carlos gets into Destiny. Destiny, people are demanding you to be fired. You don't even tell your personal story. Why are you on this show? You say you got a man, but it's just a pillow beside you. Okay. Why are you on Love and Marriage Huntsville when you are not married and you are not in love? I said, "Oh Lord, you talk about just destroying your just let me just destroy." It's not funny, okay, but it's funny because he's literally reading verbatim what I see a lot of people saying online, right? But here's the thing though. It does allow each person to respond to the things that the fans are saying. Okay. And so I think for us, a lot of us, because Carlos said, in 30 episodes, we've gotten very little, right? And Destiny does make some good points. She says that there are things that she shows, but they don't play on TV, which we know to be true for reality TV because they only have about 42 minutes to show, everybody's story, and they really kind of more or less focus on the core six still. So that could possibly be true as well. And we have to look beyond just what we see and also what we are what the character may be trying to give. But the problem even with that notion is that the producers say that she's difficult. Okay? So that is another issue. So Carlos says that the producers are trying to throw you a bone and you are still like dipping and doing the Matrix. The producers throwing you something and you be like, the producers be here with the mic and Destiny be like, nope, not gonna give you that. Okay, that's the way he made it seem to me, and so did Kimmy, because Kimmy was like, "Girl, we gotta pull things from you," And Kimmy's thought is this: maybe she's just a private person, but honestly, if you that type of person, maybe reality TV ain't for you. I said, Kimmy, oh, ouch. Ouch. This is Destiny trying to dodge Kimmy's bullets, okay? Because Kimmy was firing them off. She trying to duck it. She after she ducking and dodging production, now she got the dodge and weave from Carlos and Kimmy. Destiny, I love you, boo. I like you. Okay, I do. I think that you add value to the story. Whether you aggressive or not, I like it. I find it to be fun. But what I will say is next season we need to see this man, okay? And we need to see more of what's going on in your personal life. You know what I'm saying? And listen, this is my thought. If you feel like they ain't showing it, I need you to show up to everybody's event. Show up to everything, even when you're not scheduled to film. Just show up and be there. Be in the background. Show up like Charisse, okay? Show up like Charisse. If you show up like Charisse, I guarantee you'll be in every episode, okay? Show up like Charisse. If you don't do nothing else in your life, y'all know what? That's the second motto for the day, okay? Show up like Charisse. That's why we are all not where we need to be in our lives. You know why? Because we ain't showing up like Charisse. So that's the motto. If you want to be successful in your life, I'm going to need you to show up like Charisse. Show up like Charisse. Just be there. Just be there. Just be there. Okay? And if y'all don't leave here with nothing else today, y'all know I like to leave y'all with a good passage, a little scripture, a little word of praise and advice. If y'all don't do nothing else, learn from this lunchbox right here. Show up in your life. Show up for the things that are important for you. Show up like you want to win. show up like Sharice.